From Colorado's own Channel 2, this is Daybreak.
2 seconds left in the quarter. Pass is caught for the touchdown. Demaryius Thomas.
Oh, they needed to do that about 5 more times, but that was it for the Broncos. One highlight, really. The rest of the night belonged to the Seahawks as they took complete control of the Super Bowl at the outset and won Super Bowl 48, 43-8. I'll tell you why Peyton Manning insists it was not embarrassing yesterday. That's coming up in our 8 o'clock hour. Thanks again for joining us on a cold, dismal Monday morning in Denver.
Sad and depressing day, isn't it? It was a tough game to watch, but perhaps those Super Bowl commercials maybe distracted some fans from the agony that was the game. We'll tell you which Super Bowl ads the viewers liked the most just ahead. And what a difference a day makes. This is MetLife Stadium. Can you believe this? It is covered in snow this morning. East Rutherford, New Jersey and New York City under a winter storm warning right now. Some of our crew still stuck in that area, unable to get their flights back to Denver. Chris Tomer's with us now, and my goodness, snow there and snow heading our way here in Denver as well.
Yeah, what are you up to? What's going on?
Fix this.
Why so? You mad, bro?
Mike, tase me, bro.
You mad, bro?
You know, it's ever since the groundhog came out of that little wooden hole, it
changed everything.
Blame it on Phil.
It's been downhill. Yeah, the radar in East Rutherford, New Jersey, New York City,
Not
loaded
a good
with
look,
snow.
huh? Yeah.
So if you're waiting for someone to come back, it's likely their flight is canceled or delayed.
Including the Broncos.
Yeah.
They've yet to make their trip back, and they may have tough sledding getting out of Jersey as well. I'm sure they're glad to leave.
Yeah, aren't all the Bronco fans?
And it's going to start snowing here tonight. So it's like, you know, on both ends of the, we're going to get snow here. So East Rutherford this morning, it's all snow business out there right now at MetLife. Things have changed. Deborah Takahara took this shot. They're just sitting on their plane. I guess they ran out of de-icer a little bit ago. Her and Jeremy are there, and a lot of our other crew as well. Just flights being canceled out there right now on the East Coast. So back in Denver, we've actually got a clear morning. At least it's not snowing here. 11 degrees right now. It's 3 up in Fort Collins, below 0 right now in Greeley, and 19 down in Castle Rock. So here's how to plan it out. This morning looks good. As we hit the noon hour, I think the clouds start to build in 26. As we hit the evening rush hour, snow will develop. I don't think it'll come in real hard, but light snow at around 6 o'clock. There is going to be accumulation up to 5 inches by tomorrow night up and down the Front Range. So this has got 4 pegged on Denver, Aurora, 5 Castle Rock, 5 Fort Collins, 5 up in Broomfield. Then you're talking 7, 8, 9, 10 up in the foothills by tomorrow night. And up into the ski areas, another very good snow on the way up there and across the eastern plains. This is going to be a good snow out there as well, or, you know, bad if you got to travel, Vicki, out there along I-70. We could see 5, 6 inches of snow.
That's a lot of snow, especially for the Denver area. And, of course, that'll impact traffic this morning, though. Impacting traffic are wrecks and sun glare. Check this out. I know this is a little bit of a tough camera to look at, but I-25 in Bellevue, northbound traffic is crawling. Southbound traffic is crawling now as well. Let me show you the map. Northbound I-25 really almost from Castle Rock now, all the way through the techs that are leading up to a crash at Hamden. Completely jammed. This is an hour drive. But now southbound is filling in. Police are looking for another accident just after Bellevue, but before Orchard, slowing down back from Colorado. Also near Glendale, fire activity on Kentucky, just east of Colorado. Shaw Turner will have more on that in just a moment. Crashed at Federal and 104th and southbound I-25 just before I-70. Looks like it's not impacting traffic, but that sun glare especially affecting eastbound US 36, all your eastbound drivers and some southbound drivers as well. Kim and Tom, still pretty rough this morning, especially in the tech center.
I want to get to some of the breaking news in the Glendale area where firefighters have put out a garage fire that had spread to a home and an apartment complex.
Channel 2 Shaw Turner is live at Kentucky and Dahlia with the very latest information. Shaw?
Well, everybody's okay right now. Firefighters moved in quickly and put this fire out. Let me give you a look, though. Right there, you see the garage. Lots of damage there. Call came in about 6:20. And when firefighters got here, they found that it was contained to the garage, but could have been a lot worse because they found a propane tank inside that garage. Luckily, though, that tank wasn't even touched. Nothing happened there. No explosion. Still, they evacuated the residents for about 10 to 15 minutes just to do a safety sweep anyway. Everybody was quickly let back in. in and is inside now. Everybody's safe and sound, and only damage of what you see there. A viewer did send us a picture of this fire, and as you can see there, you see the flames and what was going on at that point at about 6 o'clock this morning. So it is a good thing firefighters got here when they did to put that fire out quickly and avoid any heat or flames from reaching that propane tank inside. Now, investigators tell me there is absolutely no link to a fire that's being investigated a few blocks away, which was a fire at a construction site that was very large and suspicious as well. It occurred back in December, but again, no link to that. As far as anyone running around, as far as an arson situation goes, we have nothing to indicate that whatsoever. We'll continue to follow this investigation as they're still working on a cause, though. Shawl Turner reporting live from Glendale, Channel 2 News Daybreak.
All right, Shawl, thanks very much.
But we do want to get back to the Super Bowl, and here in Denver, a shooting at a Super Bowl party has left one man in critical condition. The man was shot several times outside a home on 14th and Calumet. The Denver Post reports a pile of Broncos clothing was on the ground where the man was shot. Police do not have any information on a suspect, and they say the circumstances leading up to the shooting are unclear.
It's snapped over the head of Peyton Manning. A flag is down, and the ball's out of the back of the end zone.
Could you imagine the game starting any worse? A safety on the first snap for the Broncos. It proved to be a very bad omen for Peyton Manning and Denver in Super Bowl 48. Broncos never really ever got going. They ended up now as the team with the most ever Super Bowl losses, their 5th last night. The lone highlight came in the last play of the third quarter.
2 seconds left in the quarter. Pass is caught for the touchdown. Demaryius Thomas.
Well, the touchdown and the 2-point conversion prevented the Broncos from becoming the first team ever to be shut out in the Super Bowl. This from the highest scoring team in NFL history. As far as the Seahawks, they dominated on offense, defense, and special teams. They win it by 35 points, 43-8. That's City's first ever Super Bowl. Peyton Manning afterwards seemed to handle all of the criticism in stride, except for when he was asked if the loss was embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing at all. I would never use that word. There's a lot of professional football players in that room, the locker room, that put a lot of hard work and effort into being here, into playing in that game. And the word embarrassing is an insulting word, to tell you the truth.
Of course, he has a lot of pride, and he would not use that term, but there were teammates who did, and of course many fans as well felt it was just that, an embarrassing loss, the way the team had played throughout the year.
Yeah, different people taking it different ways. Wes Welker was one of those who said, yes, this was embarrassing.
Of course, for the team, they'll return home and their families will come with them. They'll be relying on those families for emotional support after a bitter defeat. And one player was sharing a touching message that he got last night from his son.
It is very touching. Defensive end Sean Phillips tweeted out this picture of a text he got from his son Jalen. Sean wrote, "Sorry I let you down." And his son wrote, "It's okay, Daddy. You're still my hero." Phillips responded by saying, "Well, at least we get to hang out now." Phillips says messages like these are the one thing that will make him feel better. In Seattle, as thousands of fans poured onto the streets, some got out of hand. Take a look at this video. Some of them setting fire to a pile of mattresses and couches to create a huge bonfire in the streets. Police and riot gear surrounded the crowd as firefighters moved in to put out those flames. But then fans lit another couch on fire, dousing it with kerosene and fireworks. Quite the scene there in Seattle. Well, this morning, the Broncos' own Miles, the mascot, is making good on his bet with the Seattle mascot.
You saw the promo for ESPN last week. Well, this morning, Miles has to make good on a bet between the two.
You got to win that thing all week? Yeah. Good luck out there.
There's Miles about to put on that Russell Wilson Seahawks jersey. That's gonna sting.
That is pretty entertaining. Well, just in the last hour, Janet Yellen has made history, becoming the very first woman to chair the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank. Her public swearing-in ceremony a few minutes ago, Yellen officially took over the office on Saturday, replacing Ben Bernanke. Today, flags across the state will be lowered in memory of a Jefferson County Sheriff's Sergeant who was killed in the line of duty. Governor Hickenlooper has ordered the flags to be lowered from sunrise to sunset ahead of the funeral later this morning to honor this man, Sergeant David Baldwin. He died last week after being hit while on his motorcycle by a wrong-way driver on Highway 93. The funeral will start at 10 a.m. at the First Bank Center in Broomfield.
In Highlands Ranch this morning, counselors are going to be available for classmates of a Mountain Vista High School student who shot and killed his mother and then himself. Douglas County Sheriff's Office saying that 15-year-old Robert Clamo shot his 46-year-old mother, Tatiana, multiple times at their home on Friday before he turned the gun on himself. A second woman and a girl escaped, but the woman was injured when she jumped out of a window. And today, an autopsy will be performed on the body of Oscar-winning actor Philip Seymour Hoffman, who was found dead yesterday before noon in his Manhattan apartment, dead of an apparent drug overdose.
So sad. Police say the 46-year-old was found on the bathroom floor yesterday with a needle still in his left arm. Investigators also found 2 bags of what is believed to be heroin. Back in 2005, Hoffman won an Oscar for his role in the movie Capote and was nominated for Oscars 3 other times. For years, Hoffman has openly struggled with addiction and had checked into rehab last May. He leaves behind 3 children and such a large body of work as well.
You just think of him in so many movies. I remember way back when he played a younger man in A Scent of a Woman, and then he went on to play lead roles, obviously, in Capote and The Master, and so many roles, funny roles. He was manager Art Howe in the baseball movie Moneyball, and just did a little bit of everything.
And just completely immersed himself. He looked different in each role.
Yeah, he was
really
considered,
amazing
by those who
talent.
really can assess things, they considered him, if not America's finest not leading actor, but actor. He played so many roles, so it's sad to see him go in such a cruel way. Well, it was a big week for an internet site celebrating its 10th anniversary.
Plus, a warning for anyone who carries a smartphone in their backpack after a teenager gets burned.
And a little girl's letter to Lego going viral after she complained about some characters. We'll tell you what she wants the company to do coming up.
And high temps today right at 30 in Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins with snow coming in this evening. Teens 20s will do it in the mountains.
Still a major jam in the tech center. It starts here at I-25 in Surrey Ridge. Traffic stays jammed all the way to an accident at Hamden. Also a crash southbound I-25 at Orchard. We'll be right back.
Turning to some of the business news at 8:15, another security breach, this time from a company that oversees operations for 3 major hotel chains. Talking about the company called White Lodging. They've issued a statement saying they're aware of unusual fraud patterns in the system that processes credit card transactions. Now, White Lodging manages 168 hotels, some in Colorado that include Marriott's, Sheraton's, and Westin hotels. The company not disclosing how many customers may have been affected, but says it is now working with authorities. Hard to believe, but Facebook's celebrating its 10th birthday tomorrow.
Yeah, with nearly 1 billion mobile users last quarter, the social network reported revenues of more than $2.6 billion, beating industry analyst predictions. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg is also hinting the site may let people have pages without using their real names. Right now, users can't use a fake name. Today, the site is releasing a new feature called Paper, a standalone app that may allow anonymous sharing.
It is back to work on Wall Street this morning. First trading session of February after a tough January. More than 45 minutes into trading. The big board says the Dow is down just a little less than 125 points. NASDAQ is also down, trading off 40 points there, and the S&P 500 has dropped 15 points in early trading this Monday morning.
Right now, we want to check in with Chris Tomer and see how this cold day is going to shape up. Only 11 degrees right now.
It's a cold morning out here, Kim and Tom. Yeah, at least we've got clear skies for now. Our snow arrives here this evening at the tail end of the rush hour. I don't think it'll come in heavy, but certainly some light snow in the forecast. Take a look at the numbers right now. It is 6 at City Park, 11 out at the airport. Our pinpoint futurecast, what the radar satellite is going to show as it slides through the day, the snow continues to build up in the mountains, and our clouds will start to increase here this afternoon. And then here comes some blue just after the 5 o'clock hour, more like 6 or 7 o'clock tonight. It kind of slides in, light snow, and then it picks up in intensity overnight into tomorrow. looking for quite a bit of snow at the ski areas. By tomorrow night, our snow model indicates 8 up there at the Loveland area, 11 at Winter Park, 7 on the way for Steamboat, 5 Vale, 7 at Crested Butte, and we could pick up to 4 or 5 inches of snow here across the Front Range by tomorrow night. Pinpoint 7-day forecast, 30 today, 15 for the high tomorrow. Another inch of snow on Wednesday, turning very windy and cold. 8 for the high Wednesday, 10 on Thursday, below 0 for 4 mornings, and another chance of some accumulating snow, Vicki, by the time we hit late Friday and Saturday.
Thanks, Chris. It sounds like we're going to have some messy drives really all week, and unfortunately it didn't start with the snow. It started this morning with a few accidents. Here's the view of I-25 and County Line. It does appear as though traffic is beginning to loosen up, but let me show you just how bad it got. Traffic started slowing down with an accident earlier at Hamden. Now this is a second accident, keeping things slow all the way down now to Castle Rock. This is well over an hour drive. Avoid I-25 northbound if you can at all costs. Take any other route. Slowing down eastbound C470, southbound I-25. There's a crash at Orchard, almost cleared out of the way, but that jam with the sun glare all reaching almost back to downtown Denver. Now on the north side of town, no accidents, pretty typical commute. One crash on the side streets there at Federal and 104th. So again, the tech center is just our trouble spot today, and Kim and Tom, it's well over an hour. So avoid the highway if you can for our viewers.
Good advice. Thanks, Vicki. 8:19 now, and a middle school student in Maine is recovering from 1st and 2nd degree burns on her legs after her iPhone caught fire in her back pocket. It happened on Friday in class. The principal says the 13-year-old student heard a pop and smoke began coming out of her pocket, so she took off her pants and rolled on the ground. The fire marshal believes the pressure of the girl sitting on the phone caused the battery to malfunction and heat up. The girl is expected to be back at school this morning.
Here's the story of a 7-year-old girl's letter to Lego. Apparently, she said she did not like how they gender stereotyped their toys. The letter now going viral.
In the letter, Charlotte Benjamin writes of her frustration with the lack of Lego options for girls. Quote, I am 7 years old and I love Legos, but I don't like that there are more Lego boy people and barely any Lego girls. Charlotte's letter also points out how many children's toys are color-coded. Today I went to a store and I saw Legos in 2 sections, the girls pink and the boys blue. All the girls did was sit at home, go to the beach and shop, and they had no jobs, but the boys went on adventures, worked, saved people, and had jobs, even swam with sharks. She asked that the Lego female characters have the same opportunity as the boy ones. Pretty interesting point coming from a 7-year-old. 8:20 now, and as the world mourns actor Philip Seymour Hoffman, we learn what will happen with the latest movie he was working on, the new Hunger Games movie.
And next, it is deadly ash, an ash cloud that killed more than a dozen people in Indonesia. The latest is straight ahead.
And later, a new tattoo craze where the daring are getting inked and where most people won't see.
Weather and traffic to go. Current temps are on the cold side this morning. Across Colorado, it's 11 at Denver. It's 3 up in Fort Collins. And a lot of single digits in the mountains, although Aspen at plus 11. Here's where we're headed. Pinpoint highs at 30 in Fort Collins, Larimer, Weld counties today through Gilchrist and Greeley with evening snow coming in. And 30 downtown Denver, my forecast high through Commerce City over to Westminster, down to Highlands Ranch today. And across the Palmer Divide, Vicki, highs upper 20s.
Thanks, Chris. Right now, it's still checking on that awful drive in the tech center. We'll start here at 225 in Parker. The jam in the tech center is affecting southbound 225. That's what's causing this jam. And if you notice on the right side of your screen, there's a police officer there. There's a minor 2-car, just a fender bender, virtually nothing there. Just right on the shoulder. But this jam goes all the way to I-25. Doesn't get any better once you get to I-25. Look at this. Solid red all the way down almost to Castle Rock. This due to a crash at Hamden. Once that one was cleared, a second accident at Hamden. Also crashed at Orchard, keeping that southbound direction slow. And if that wasn't bad enough, let's throw in another wreck southbound I-25 at University. It's just awful. Let's look at some drive times. Your Highlands Ranch Drive also affected. Santa Fe to I-25, 24 minutes. I-25 Founders to C-470, 30 minutes. Once you get to C-470 to run through the tech center, just to Colorado Boulevard is an additional close to 40 minutes. So Kim and Tom, the rest of the commute, pretty typical, but that tech center drive is really what's hanging up today.
All right, thank you, Vicki. 8:25 and some world news now. In Indonesia, at least 15 people are dead after being suffocated by hot ash from a volcano eruption. The victims of Mount Sinabung's eruption were found over the weekend within 2 miles of the volcano's crater. Hot ash clouds with temperatures of over 1,000 degrees traveled down this slope in just 2 minutes. Authorities say there may be more casualties. The volcano started coming back to life in 2010. And a volcanic eruption in Ecuador happened 3 times over the weekend. It sent huge clouds of ash and smoke into the sky. The blast caused emergency responders to block off streets in the area around the volcano. And thankfully, there are no reports of injuries from that eruption.
Right now, travel in China is being hindered by heavy smog. About a dozen highways in northern China had to be closed down. Visibility down to less than 1,000 feet in some areas. The Meteorological Center issuing an orange alert for fog. That is the second highest alert stage in China's color-coded warning system. All right, coming up on 8:30, a devastating loss yesterday for the Broncos in Super Bowl 48. The team now has to point the compass towards next year and try to recover.
Next, we're going to take you live to Dove Valley, and we're going to hear Peyton Manning talking about the play that started the downfall, the safety on the opening play.
And Super Bowl headlines from around the country. They may not be your favorites. They're coming up.
Could you look me in the eye and tell me that you're happy now?
What a nightmare in New Jersey for the Broncos. Chances are you probably woke up this morning still wondering just how the Seahawks completely dominated the Super Bowl yesterday.
Yeah, you would have had a better trip to New Jersey if you ended up in the trunk of Tony Soprano's car than the Broncos coming out on the wrong end of a 43-8 final. Channel 2's Chris Jose, already back from New York, is out at Dove Valley, where the team will be returning sometime today, weather permitting, with trying to get a blueprint together for how to not let this happen again and go forward, Chris.
Absolutely right, Tom. You know what? I think the Denver Post describes it best with just one word. Today's headline reading, seasick, and I think that's how most Denver Broncos fans feel this morning as they head out to work and head out to school. As you mentioned, the Broncos scheduled to arrive back here later on this afternoon, weather permitting, and it's certainly going to be a very disappointing ride back home. From the very beginning, it looked ugly for the Broncos. The opening snap set the tone, and they never recovered.
The first play was a crazy play, not the way you expect to start a game. After that, had a 3 and out, and then had the turnover, which was a poor play on my part.
With every turnover and every big play, it just got uglier for the Broncos. It became apparent the Seahawks would go home as champions.
You know, a lot of people were focused on Richard Sherman versus Peyton Manning versus Legion Boone. This journey has been great, and the destination definitely took care of itself.
Perhaps defense does win championships, but even in a stadium filled with Seahawks blue and green confetti, it was a season to remember for the Broncos.
Sometimes you're defined how you handle adversity. I think we still overcame and accomplished a lot.
Just a tough way to end it with a loss like this.
It's a difficult pill to swallow. I think you have to find a way to deal with it and process it. And like I said, if you can, to try to fuel it to make you a better team next year.
Yeah, there's always next year, but that seems so far away right now. Of course, the Broncos will regroup in the offseason. And by the way, the Broncos now 2-5 in Super Bowl appearances, which sets the record for Super Bowl losses. Live in Dove Valley, Chris Jose, Channel 2 News, Daybreak.
Thanks for the good news, Chris. Appreciate it. Well done. Yep, 5 Super Bowl losses. Yeah. The Broncos now the first team ever to lose 5 Super Bowls, but they're obviously equipped to go back and play in another one next year, and it's a matter of finding the things they need generally, I think, to improve what they do defensively. And it was the offense that let them down yesterday, but I think if you were looking to improve the team, they're going to have some tough decisions to make along the likes of having to make a choice really financially, whether you decide to sign and keep Eric Decker or no Sean Marino, but you probably can't do both.
A lot to figure out in the offseason. Now, weather was not a factor in New Jersey yesterday, but it is today, and a lot of people are having a hard time getting home from the game.
That's right. I mean, it's like as soon as the game was over, we were watching this storm with snow roll into East Rutherford, and it's snowing hard there this morning. Not what a lot of those folks wanted to see. They want to get back to Denver.
It's a huge travel day. The day after the Super Bowl, wherever it is, I mean, you see it's private jets are lined up and a lot of commercial air traffic, and they got a lot of people stuck in the swamps of Jersey.
And it's snowing hard there, and it's going to be a tough day out there. And then we get snow in Denver starting tonight into tomorrow. It's a snowy pattern setting up for us, all because the jet stream is buckling. It's taking a big dip across the west, and so that's going to allow storm after storm to ride that jet stream and just basically like an escalator right into the state of Colorado through this upcoming weekend. In fact, 11 at Denver right now, cold morning, 3 in Fort Collins, 17 right now in Castle Rock. Here's how to plan out the day, so no problem this morning. At noon, the skies start to turn cloudy or 26. As we hit the evening rush hour, I think late in the rush, tail end, we start to see some light snow develop, and then it will pick up in intensity overnight into tomorrow. I'm talking about 2 to 5 inches of accumulation here by tomorrow night, so you can see this has pinpointed 4 inches for Denver, Aurora, 5 up north, 5 down at Castle Rock, 5 to 8 to 10 in the foothills. And again, the ski area is doing just great. I mean, talk about more powder. Vicki, another 11 on the way for Winter Park by tomorrow night.
Sounds good. Thanks, Chris. You know, with all that snow on the way, I wish I had better news about this morning's commute. It wasn't supposed to be so bad, but unfortunately, it certainly is, especially in the tech center. We're looking at a major jam northbound I-25 running from just about Surrey Ridge all the way through to a Hamden, where there's still an accident there. Also, southbound 225 is affected, as well as eastbound C470 across Highlands Ranch. So unfortunately, we have drive times that equal what would be a snow day, Kim and Tom.
Not good. Thanks, Vicki. 8:35 now, new this morning. Thanks to a witness, Aurora police were able to track down a woman accused of hitting a man with her SUV. Police say the man was walking across the southbound lanes of I-225 near I-70 last night when the SUV hit him. He later died of his injuries. A witness followed the vehicle and gave police a description and the license plate number. Police were able to find the SUV and arrested the driver at 6th and Moline. They say alcohol is suspected as a factor.
The NSA leaker, Edward Snowden, his story is about to hit bookstores. The book is titled The Snowden Files, the inside story of the world's most wanted man. It's going to come out in the United Kingdom this week and is scheduled to be released in the United States next week. The book is written by reporter Luke Harding from the British newspaper The Guardian. He says it details the intelligence leaker's journey. Snowden continues to live in Russia after that country, of course, granted him asylum.
Just ahead of the Super Bowl, the president went one-on-one with Fox's Bill O'Reilly in a contentious talk about health care and the Benghazi attack. O'Reilly went hard on the president about the botched rollout of healthcare.gov. And while President Obama admitted to the problems, he said it's well in the past and that it's working the way it is supposed to now. The president also dodged what O'Reilly suggested was the biggest mistake in the past 5 years.
Was it the biggest mistake of your presidency to tell the nation over and over, if you like your insurance, you can keep your insurance?
Oh, Bill, you've got a long list of my mistakes in my presidency.
No, really.
O'Reilly also accused the president of distracting from the Benghazi scandal to protect his image. President Obama fired back at O'Reilly, saying, quote, "These kinds of things keep surfacing, in part because you and your TV station will promote them."
Back to New Jersey, where Governor Chris Christie will be speaking at CPAC next month. Of course, a chance for Republican presidential hopefuls to shine in front of many party supporters. Of course, this comes while one of Christie's administration has been subpoenaed in the George Washington Bridge scandal. That woman, Christina Renna, well, she's now resigned, leaving the office with the governor over the weekend. This as former Christie aide David Wildstein has claimed to have evidence that the governor knew about the lane closures on the bridge last fall. Wildstein's attorney says that they do have evidence to prove that Christie had knowledge of the lane closures. Christie's team, though, maintains the governor had no prior knowledge of the traffic issues.
Good afternoon, everybody. You've already heard enough speeches. Enough speeches of the same thing. I want to tell everybody out there to thank you very much to all of our partners, the NFL,
some jeering, some boos for the governor over the weekend at a Super Bowl event. That was on Saturday. The crowd booing in the background as he took the stage to hand off Super Bowl hosting duties to next year's host state of Arizona.
In your health news this morning, it turns out that man's best friend can also help you be a better friend. A U.S. study found pets can make you a more caring person. The study says young adults with a strong attachment to their four-legged friends reported feeling more connected to their communities and their relationships. Those people were more engaged in activities of service to their family and friends and also felt more empathy for the people around them. Dogs are so cool.
No doubt.
It is 8:38 and still ahead. Super Picks, the top Super Bowl commercials according to fans.
And a little premature tossing from Joe Namath on yesterday's start of the game yesterday. Can you guess what's getting Joe even more attention? I'll share it with you.
And highlights from last night's halftime performance. That's all coming up in People and Places.
Remy, come. Remy, sit. Speak. Good boy. Good boy.
Well, you just met an 8-week-old Siberian Husky puppy, just 8 weeks old. That's Remy. Remy can already do tricks, can sit and speak.
Good boy.
Of course, that breed being known among the most clever of all dogs, the Siberian Husky. 8 weeks old.
Tiny, yeah.
I've had dogs at the ages of 4 and 5, still weren't sure what their names were. It's usually the trainer's fault, not the dog. It's
pretty impressive.
My work.
Right now we do want to check in with Chris Tomer. We have a very chilly start to our day here and a very wintry weather week ahead.
It really is. It may snow almost every day this week at some point, so I'll talk more about that in the 7-day. But it's a cold morning. It's clear in Denver, 13. Some places seeing some fog. It's 7 in Inglewood, 12 down in Highlands Ranch, and Broomfield sitting at 14. Here's our pinpoint futurecast. So we start with some sun, and then the clouds start to really build in here pretty fast. Here's noon. The white is cloud cover, the blue is snow beginning to pick up in the mountains and then move towards Denver here. As we approach the evening rush, it may start okay, and then some light snows may join us here for the evening rush late in it, like 6, 7 o'clock tonight. That's at 9 right there. And then a much more generous snow rolls in here. That's the blue tomorrow, overnight into tomorrow morning. And it may actually continue all the way through the evening rush tomorrow and add about 4 inches here to our snowpack here in Denver. In the mountains, the ski areas, Loveland's got 8 on the way by tomorrow night. Winter Park, 11. Steamboat, Crested Butte, both 7 inches of snow on the way. Pinpoint 7-day forecast, 30 today, 15 tomorrow. Another inch of snow on Wednesday, turning very windy. And look how cold it's going to be, with some single-digit highs. 4 mornings, Vicki, below 0. I know how much you love that.
Yeah, definitely. We'll need to bundle up. And Chris, it's unbelievable how bad traffic is this morning. You'd think it already snowed. Check this out. On top of the earlier problems, now we have a new problem. I-25 again in the tech center. This is southbound at Orchard. A stalled semi in the center lane. That's in addition to another accident that's keeping traffic slow all the way back to downtown, with a wreck also at University. But look at northbound. Really no improvement. It's jammed from just about Castle Rock all the way through Hamden. There was 2 wrecks there. That's keeping this so slow. Looks like Highlands Ranch is recovering even despite the jam on I-25. Southbound 225 still heavy, especially from Parker Road. Now northbound 225, see this yellow? There's a stalled semi near Colfax. I can't believe it. I don't know what's going on in the tech center today. On the north side, the rest of the commute, it's pretty typical. Southbound I-25, I-70 to Bellevue, 44 minutes. I-25 Founders to C-470, 26 minutes. C-470 to Colorado, 33 minutes. These times are slightly better. Kim and Tom, we're starting to see a little bit of improvement.
Yikes. Thank you, Vicki. Well, the Super Bowl game, that was hard to watch, but at least we got a good halftime show and some good commercials. So all of you at home, you probably have your list of which ones were your favorite.
USA Today is out with their annual rankings, and here is the winner. This was the one that was supposed to bring a tear to your eye, but luckily it ran late in the game when most Bronco fans were already sobbing. The Budweiser puppy love ad that somehow brought these 2 people who were unaware of each other until that puppy came over. Hey, the Doritos Cowboy Kid came in second as far as the rankings. So, you know, this is not uncommon because Anheuser-Busch and Doritos have won every USA Today ad meter well, since 1999. Thousands of panelists across the country comprise that group for Ad Meter. Now, wait, here's our producer's pick.
I gotcha. Oh, you can count on me. 1, 2, 3, I'll be when I need it, I can count on you.
Well, that's the new Hyundai Genesis with the tagline, now someone else other than Dad is watching out for you.
That was a good one.
Way to go, Dad.
I like the Tim Tebow commercial.
Excellent.
That was really good. I liked the Radio Shack commercial. The 80s have called. They want their store back. But the one that was most emotional for me was the Chevy truck with the cancer survivor.
Well, and that was good because they had the other one with the romantic bull on his way to meet the cows. Where they
I don't
had
remember that one.
Yeah, the guy was driving in his truck, I think it was Chevy, and he has the trailer on back, and he's bringing his bull to meet the cows. And there's, yeah, it was...
So it's a good thing they had a better one, huh?
It was squirmy.
Oh, it is 8:46, and last night's Super Showdown, maybe something Broncos fans would like to soon forget. Just look at some of today's front pages.
Definitely a theme across Colorado newspapers. Of course, some of these are owned by the same people, so maybe they're sharing. The Daily Camera, Orange Crushed. In Grand Junction, the Daily Sentinel goes with Orange Crushed. The Colorado Springs Gazette, saving money, going without orange, just going with crushed. Denver Post with a great headline, Seasick. Quite different tune up in Washington State up there. The Daily Herald's headline says, loud and clear. The News Tribune saying simply, at last. And the Seattle Times saying just champs. Of course, they didn't have the Seattle Post-Intelligencer. Right behind that graphic, a very amusing New York Daily News headline that says, Omaha Ha. You just missed it. New York Times going with a headline that says New York Times, and the New York Post, of course, doing the story of Philip Seymour Hoffman, but above that you can see Seahawks are Bronx Bombers.
Pretty clever there. Well, we all know tickets to the big game were expensive. They were thousands of dollars, but the high prices did not stop at the ticket window.
You had to know this going in, but just in case you didn't get a chance to get a feel for going to the game, 2 cookies, $7, a brownie, $7, water ice, which is kind of like a snow cone, a mere $9. Soft drinks are $6, bottled water $6, hot chocolate is $11 or $20. If you want to go with the souvenir cup, and who wouldn't do that?
I was reading a cheesesteak was $16. After you
Beer,
pay
$16.
$2,000 for a ticket, probably just a drop in the bucket. Well, a big snafu came during the coin toss right before the game. Take a look.
It is my honor to present Hall of Fame quarterback Joe Namath to toss the coin. All right. Seattle's a visiting team. Who's going to call the toss? Tails. Tails. He calls tails. Now, Joe.
Now, Joe. Now. That's, of course, former New York Jets legendary quarterback Joe Namath jumping the gun on the coin toss during the Super Bowl.
All right, everyone's into his wardrobe because, of course, if you're a big-time sports fan, New York sports fan, and you know Joe Willie, that picture back from the early 70s on the left, Joe rocking the big fur coat. That's why he brought it back last night. Probably thought it was going to be cold and thought he'd bring back a little good old days. I do want to say this. The first time that Joe Namath tossed that coin, the one that did not count, the Broncos were going to win that toss. They would have deferred. They would have kicked off. Seattle would have had a snap go out of the end zone. It would have been 2-0 Denver. The whole thing was determined by the flip of the coin. And by tossing it a second time, as a conspiracy theorist, I can tell you right now, it was fixed.
It all would have been different if not for the coin toss.
Entirely the other way. Hey, you know, tattoos aren't for everyone. But there's a new trend in the ink world, and that's having the inside of your lips tattooed.
Doesn't that sound painful?
Sounds like a great idea.
Oh, my gosh. Well,
that's
there you
cute,
go.
a Hello Kitty, yeah.
Well, if you don't like the injections, this at the dental office, this is definitely not for you. Pictures are circulating around the internet of tats with those Hello Kitty logos and others, the shamrock, even a man who at least has a sense of humor with a mustache tattooed on his upper lip. Well, one big drawback, the tattoos only last for a couple of years.
It's just a couple of years.
Oh, my goodness.
And they're good for you, right? There's iron and niacin and thiamine.
It just makes me cringe thinking of how painful that would have to be.
And just so you know, looking at that, could be fake.
We'll get to the bottom of that one.
fake.
Okay, time now to take a look at people and places and some sad news in the entertainment world. We are mourning the loss of Philip Seymour Hoffman. Many Hunger Games fans are now wondering how his passing will affect that franchise.
They're going to hate her so much, they might just kill her for you.
Of course, Hoffman in his many roles included the head game maker Plutarch Heavensby in Catching Fire, and that was supposed to have a big presence in the upcoming Mockingjay, which is in 2 parts. A source close to the project says Philip Seymour Hoffman's work was substantially complete in part 1 of the film, and there were only 7 days left for him to shoot in part 2. Those films are scheduled to be released in November of this year and November of next year. Sources say that probably will not be affected by the death of Philip Seymour Hoffman. Well, as always, big names came out to entertain and be seen at the Super Bowl.
And this year, Bruno Mars rocked the halftime show. In a 12-minute-long, energy-packed performance, he touched on 60s Motown, 70s disco funk, 80s pop, and modern hip-hop. Red Hot Chili Peppers also made a cameo appearance, and despite temperatures in the 30s, they still came out shirtless.
If you risked $175 a prop bet, you could have won $100 on at least one member of the Peppers being shirtless, and most people thought that was a sure thing.
That was a bet, huh?
Yeah, that was one of those prop bets that was available. I don't know how you could have gone the other way on that.
Yeah,
I noticed
it's expected.
The focus on No-Shan during the national
anthem. Yeah, they were waiting for the tears.
4 times.
They kept hoping that he would come cut it loose for them. I think as far as the Peppers and shirts, I think they were glad that Flea had pants on.
That's right. And tights.
Yeah.
Tights as well. 30 today for the high. We get 2 to 5 inches coming in tonight into tomorrow. It may snow all day off and on tomorrow into tomorrow night. Another inch of snow on Wednesday. Another accumulating snow, Vicky, for Friday, Saturday, and it stays cold. 30 today is the warmest day of the entire 7 days.
Looks like we're going to have a busy commute all week, and no exception today. If you need to get to the tech center, take a deep breath. Here we go. Southbound I-25 stalled semi at Orchard. The center lane is blocked. Also a crash near University, so it's jammed from downtown almost to the tech center. And northbound I-25, finally a wreck at Hamden is gone. This is over an hour delay back from Castle Rock. Also a crash westbound 270 at Vasquez. We'll be right back.
It is 8:56 now. Time to check in with Joanna Canals to see what's coming up next on Colorado's Best. Good morning, Joanna.
Well, we don't have Joanna's mic, but
Whoops.
I will tell you that Colorado's Best is promising the single greatest show in the history of television, and it's 3.5 minutes away. We have some weather on our way today.
We do indeed, yeah. We've got snow, and I think that will arrive at the tail end of the rush hour. It starts light, but then it will pick up overnight into tomorrow. It may snow off and on all day tomorrow, guys. Up to 5 inches in spots.
Hey,
My goodness.
If for some reason Colorado's Best doesn't live up to greatest show ever, drop Kim an email. We'll see you tomorrow morning.